Hey guys, it is time for another moment of transparency. Um, so I've said that 2024 is a year of transparency for me, and so far I have been doing a moment every month. I almost missed this month. Didn't want to do this month, but I will do this month. So I'm coming up on the anniversary of my dad's death. He passed away 3 years ago on May 4th. Okay. I remember the phone call and all of that from the doctor and everything. And you guys, I adore my dad. I did. I adore my dad. However, the moment of transparency I want to share today is that I think I adore my dad out of slight trauma. So I say that because the times that me and my dad spent together were absolutely amazing. Great. He was a way of escape for me, from the things that I experienced in childhood. So when my dad would show up, I jump in the car and we're off. I didn't check in with anybody. We just left, you know what I'm saying? I grew up on the west side of Chicago. So, and everybody knew my dad. Everybody knew my dad. My dad owned lounges and apartments, and everybody knew my dad on the west side of Chicago. He had a twin brother, identical twins, him and Uncle Will. And so they were very well known. However, my dad, I was told that my dad wanted me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he asked my mom to have me or whatever. Well, a child. I'm just it. So, I've always held on to that because of the things that I experienced growing up. So that meant the world to me that my dad actually wanted me. Like, he requested me. And so for me, I felt like that was the coolest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? I had my dad around. I knew who my dad was. He was around. He spent great time with me, spoiled the hell out of me, not gonna lie. So I mean, we didn't spend every day together and he didn't live with us, but when I did see my dad, it was like, yeah, spoiled city. So birthdays, holidays, he would take me to the store, give me a basket and say, here, go for it, and I would fill it up. That's how spoiled I was. But as an adult, I realized that it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. I really wanted to live with my dad, especially as a teenager when we moved to Memphis. I wanted to stay in Chicago with my dad, and he wouldn't let me. Later on, we had a conversation. We had great conversations, y'all. Later on, we had a conversation, and he told me that the reason that he did not allow me to live with him is because he thought that I was having, like, you know how teenage girls get into it with their mothers or whatever. He thought that's what that was, and it was not. It was just that I didn't feel comfortable where I was, and I wanted to be with him. Like, I literally was my happiest when I was with him, and so I wanted to live with him. And I feel like as an adult, as I think back on it, and I'm a social worker, y'all, licensed clinical social worker, so I'm all for therapy, you know what I'm saying? So I go to therapy, and I have the dopest therapist. Anyway, I come to these little revelations, and one of them was how important a father is. I'll say in a daughter's life. He's important in all of his children's lives, but I'll say daughter just because I'm a daughter. Because I feel like your father is the first person to give you your identity. You know, he teaches you who you are. He shows you who you are by his actions and the way he treats you, how he loves you. A lot of times I'll find myself looking for my dad and guys that I date or whatever. You think about that, and you think about the fact that I didn't see him very often. My dad, outside of being my dad, the dad that I love, he probably was a Rolling Stone. Okay, so he was out there. Daddy had women. And like, he would take me over their houses. Well, one their house, it was one of his apartment buildings. He would let them live there, but So I knew what dad was doing, you know. But as I grew older, the one thing, the deal breaker for me was being cheated on. Couldn't take it. That was not something I could handle, I could do. But it's funny because the men that I chose would be men like my dad. So guess what? They cheated. They were not faithful. And I didn't do that consciously. It wasn't something that I did consciously. It was just something that I don't know. That's the first person I knew. That's the first man that loved me. That's my first example. And so that is my soapbox. Is one of them. Black males specifically, all fathers, but black males specifically, I love to see them spend time with their children. I do, especially their daughters, and not just spend here and there with their children constantly. You know what I'm saying? I don't make sacrifices for your children. Okay, I love to see that, love it, and I'm the biggest advocate for black men because I loved and adored my daddy, and if I could spend more time with him, what I wouldn't have given, you know, to learn more, to be with him more. Not only do I love to see black men spend time with their daughters, be good examples of what you would have your daughter choose. Okay, we talk a lot about what's wrong with the black woman or what's wrong with the black man. We do a lot of that talking, but it starts in childhood. It really and truly does. And once you're an adult and you finally realize, and some people never do, they never come to that conclusion, but once you're an adult and you finally realize it and you work on that thing, it's a lot of work and it's really hard. And a lot of people don't want to do their work. A lot of people aren't like me. A lot of people don't want to be better. Well, they want to be better, but they don't want to do the work to be better because it is hard. It is not easy. And so I admonish our black fathers, please spend time with your children, and not only spend time with your children, but rear them in a way that they make good decisions as adults. You know what I'm saying? If they've seen you, if they've grown up in an environment where they've seen you do the wrong thing, subconsciously, they're going to make the wrong decisions based upon your example. And they're not even going to be trying to do it. It's what it is. A lot of my mistakes came from that. That's just a piece of my life. As far as my relationship with my dad and what the things that I saw, you know, there's also the relationship with my mom and the things that I saw and things that I experienced. So if both sides are not good examples, I'll just say that child is going to have a lot of work to do, you know. And what if she never realizes it, or he never realizes it, and they go through their life making mistake after mistake after mistake, and then they beat themselves up because they're making mistake after mistake after mistake, when they really shouldn't be beating themselves up. What they should be doing is coming to the conclusion that, hey, something's not cool. Why do I keep following this same pattern? And if they look back, I guarantee you they'll see why they keep following this same pattern. So that is my moment of transparency. I adore my dad, and I want to do something Saturday for his anniversary of his death. I do, and I respect my dad. I know his mistakes are not mine. You know, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone does the best that they can with what they know, and that's my point. If you don't know, you can't do your best. So there it is, my moment of transparency for April. It's almost May now. I'll see you next month.